This person writes, leave Trump alone, Candace. And no, we're not going to leave alone because it's not about Trump. This is not about leaving Trump alone. You're asking us to leave pedophiles alone, right? Like that's what is going to be in those Epstein files, a network of pedophilia, a sinister network, because people that will harm children will do anything. That is why they want these people like Jeffrey Epstein in positions of power, because if you violate something that is so sacred as like the protection of children, if you're able to just go, I don't care about that, then you're probably willing to do anything else. That's the reality.
Ladies and gentlemen, today's story dives right into the heart of conservative politics, celebrity commentary, and the shaky fault lines inside Trump's movement. The spotlight. Candace Owens. She's built her brand on being fearless, unfiltered, and unwilling to back down. But this time, the backlash isn't coming from the left, it's coming from her own side. Why? Because Candace dared to touch the untouchable, Donald J. Trump. The moment she questioned the MAGA icon, a wave of loyalists fired back, demanding she fall in line. But Candace didn't retreat. She didn't stay quiet. She went the debate not to petty political drama, but to something far darker. She invoked Jeffrey Epstein, pedophile rings, and the corrupt networks of power that, in her view, used Trump as a distraction to shield the real monsters. This isn't just another influencer squabble. It's a clash between blind loyalty and the pursuit of uncomfortable truth. And it forces a bigger question: has the MAGA base become so protective of Trump that even allies who dare to question him get silenced?
This person writes, leave Trump alone, Candace. He's about to make everyone rich in the crypto sector. Yeah, everyone rich in the crypto sector. What does that even mean? Genuinely, like whose parents are involved in the crypto sector? You know, are you talking about younger people? Or are you people that are worried about their savings right now? And no, we're not going to leave alone because it's not about Trump. This is not about leaving Trump alone. You're asking us to leave pedophiles alone, right? Like that's what is going to be in those Epstein files, a network of pedophilia, a sinister network, because people that will harm children will do anything. That is why they want these people like Jeffrey Epstein in positions of power, because if you violate something that is so sacred as like the protection of children, if you're able to just go, I don't care about that, then you're probably willing to do anything else. That's the reality. You have no moral in you, no morals in you. Juliana Thomas writes, my brother just left the Washington Post because they wouldn't let him write about the Christian persecution. Why is no one covering the Christian persecution, Nigeria, Syria, Iraq? Any tips for him to do his own investigation? The first thing I would say is try to link up with Scott Horton. We covered what was going on in Syria at the time when everything was happening, when they were going after Assad, and it was very clear that what was going to happen was Israel was going to expand its territory. They were the ones that were supplying the arms to have Christians murdered. They quite literally funded the terrorist groups. And now they're just trying to wipe away history and go, look at all these Christians being murdered. Congo as well. You look into Dan Gertler, the diamond trade. I mean, Israel has its hands everywhere that Christians are being murdered. That's just a fact. And so I would team up with somebody who is an expert in those areas. And I would say Scott Horton is the right person to email. He's been on top of that for a very long time. He wrote a tome on it. Latonia writes, it's not just the US and Miss Universe pageants. Trump owned pageants in several countries like a franchise because I was in one. Other countries work under the umbrella of the Trump worldwide brand. Yep, exactly. And that was something that came to my mind. And I'm like, okay, that's what Jeffrey Epstein was all about, right? How are you growing your brand? He did the exact same thing, obviously, like I said, with MC2 modeling. And yeah, that could be it. We could be wrong, but I think it's...
Break down exactly what Candace Owens said. A fan tells her, leave Trump alone. Candace seems harmless enough, right? Basically, we like you, but Trump is off limits. Don't touch him. But Candace doesn't just shrug it off, she flips the entire script. To her, leave Trump alone isn't about Trump at all. She ties it directly to Jeffrey Epstein's dark web of abuse and corruption. Her logic is chilling. If you tell me to leave Trump alone, you're essentially telling me to leave the pedophiles alone. Why go there? Because those infamous Epstein files, the lists of names, the sealed documents whispered about 4 years don't just implicate nobodies. They point to elites, politicians, celebrities, and power brokers across the globe. Owens' argument is simple but explosive. Shielding Trump from scrutiny means shielding everyone else in those files. And if those files expose a network of child exploitation, then silence isn't loyalty, it's complicity. That's not just political commentary. That's a moral grenade. Candace is saying, you don't get to defend Trump if it means covering for predators. So here's the real question for you watching. Do you buy her framing? Is defending Trump the same as shielding Epstein's circle of power? Or is Candace going too far, weaponizing one of the darkest scandals in history, just to hit Trump where it hurts? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this isn't just about Candace versus Trump. This is about whether loyalty to a political figure should ever outweigh loyalty to truth and justice.
Happening now is it seems like you think your base is stupid. That's how I feel. I feel like Trump thinks his base is stupid, or, again, because I don't think he's pressing send on these messages, the people around him certainly think that Trump is.
Let's be real, this isn't happening in a vacuum. Donald Trump isn't just another politician. He's the centerpiece of the modern Republican Party. He's the showman, the kingmaker, the figure millions of conservatives rally around with almost religious devotion. And that devotion comes with a price. Any criticism, no matter how small, is treated as betrayal. We've seen it before: Liz Cheney, Chris Christie, and now, Candace Owens. When fans tell her, "Leave Trump alone," they're not just rejecting her commentary, they're defending the cult of personality Trump has built. Criticizing him feels, to them, like questioning the foundation of their entire political identity. And that's why the backlash is so fierce. But Candace isn't backing down. She's doubling down. To her, this isn't about Trump's ego or reputation, it's about exposing systemic evil. And that's where Jeffrey Epstein comes in. The name itself is political dynamite: his arrest, his suspicious death, the endless speculation about who appeared in his black book, it's all become the ultimate symbol of elite corruption. By linking Trump's defenders to Epstein's network, Candace is sending a brutal message. This isn't about partisanship, it's about morality. If you say leave Trump alone, then by extension, you're also saying leave Epstein's friends alone. That's a devastating rhetorical move. It traps her critics in an impossible corner. Either they admit Trump deserves scrutiny like anyone else, or they accept the implication that they're protecting a system designed to shield predators.
Vice President Vance hosting a gathering this evening to talk about how to respond to the Epstein situation.
Is he working on what?
Is he hosting some kind of gathering of top advisors this evening to talk about how to respond to the Epstein situation?
I don't know. I could ask you that question. I don't know of it, but I think here's the man right here.
I saw a report today, and it's completely fake news. We're not meeting to talk about the Epstein situation, and I think the reporter who reported it needs to get better sources.
Look, the whole thing is a hoax. It's put out by the Democrats because we've had the most successful 6 months in the history of our country, and that's just a way of trying to divert attention to something that's total bullshit. Okay?
I just want to know which part specifically is total bullshit. Like, which part specifically? Is he saying that, like, Trump, that he wasn't blackmailing people and that former Mossad agent Ari Ben-Banash was lying about that? Is he saying that, like, you know, that it's bullshit to suggest that he was working for the Mossad at all? Is he saying that it's bullshit to suggest that he was found guilty and got a sweetheart deal for some unknown reason? Is it bullshit to suggest that your own Secretary of Labor under your first term, Alexander Acosta, said that he was told to leave Jeffrey Epstein alone because someone from a higher pay grade told him, even though he was the presiding judge, to just look the other way and allow him to sign the sweetheart deal despite the fact that he had molested children? Is that all BS? Like, is Alexander Acosta lying? Your own Labor Secretary, was he lying then? Everybody's lying. What part specifically?
Mainstream media in the U.S. has long spotlighted the uneasy alliances within the conservative movement. Outlets like CNN, MSNBC, and even Fox News love covering the cracks in Trump's base, and Candace Owens just handed them a headline. The moment she tied Trump loyalty to Epstein, it became more than a spat with her followers. It became national news. And make no mistake, Candace knows exactly what she's doing. She understands the media game. By framing this around Epstein, she guaranteed wall-to-wall coverage. What could have stayed a small social media dust-up is now a full political flashpoint. So what does this tell us about the conservative movement? On one hand, it shows Trump's grip remains ironclad. If even Candace Owens takes heat for raising questions, his influence is as strong as ever. On the other hand, her willingness to go public reveals something deeper. Not everyone is willing to stay silent. And for Republicans, that's dangerous. Every ounce of energy spent on internal wars is energy not spent on elections, policy, or outreach. Democrats know this, and they're watching closely. Here's the bottom line. Candace is right about one thing: no one should be above scrutiny. If Trump, Epstein, or anyone else in power has serious questions to answer, those questions need to be asked. Truth is bigger than loyalty. But here's the risk. By equating defend Trump with defend pedophiles, she didn't just throw a punch, she launched a nuclear strike. It's a framing designed to shock, provoke, and force a moral choice. And while that might rally some to her side, it also risks alienating the very audience she needs. Because most Trump supporters don't see themselves as protecting Epstein, they see themselves as defending the man they believe fought for them against a corrupt system. By tying them directly to Epstein, Owens may have pushed many deeper into Trump's arms, not away from them.
What did you say to Trump?
Well, I told him in the short run while they were having those negotiations that I wouldn't say anything, which is why we didn't report on it for, I think it was about 4 months or 5 months later. Then afterwards, once they were done having those discussions, that I would reach out again and tell the person that I was going to speak about it publicly on my platform, because obviously I believe in free speech.
Did Candace go too far, or is her bluntness exactly what's needed to shatter the wall of denial around Trump? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Don't hold back. Because this debate isn't just about Candace Owens or Donald Trump. It's about the future of conservatism itself. Zoom out for a moment. This clash exposes a bigger question. Can the conservative movement exist beyond Trump? Candace is clearly testing that in real time, pushing back against the idea of Trump as untouchable. She's trying to carve out space for a conservatism built on ideas instead of one man. But the backlash shows how brutally hard that is. If Trump remains sacred, then conservatism risks becoming less about principles and more about loyalty tests. And in that world, challengers like Candace Owens will find themselves increasingly isolated. Here's the bottom line. Candace didn't retreat, she escalated. She dragged Epstein into the mix, reframing this as a battle not about Trump's reputation but about the soul of the movement: truth versus loyalty, morality versus cult politics. And let's be clear, this fight is far from over. With 2024 on the horizon and Trump still the dominant force, these tensions will only get louder. Candace Owens has shown her hand. The question is whether conservatives will follow her into that fight or retreat further into Trump's shadow.